I don't know.
I haven't seen it either. I think they just started doing previews for it.
It wasn't too long ago that I worked on it.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool. They had a thing where they landed this airplane on a road, and I had to come in a van, and we're going to unload all these drugs onto the airplane, and then this tanker, an oil tanker, comes hauling ass over the hill.
Okay.
And the driver can't stop, and so he crashes into the plane and my van. Big, huge explosions and shit.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
No Man's Land?
Landman.
Landman.
Yeah, it's about oil men.
Yes,
Yeah.
I just saw a preview for it too, just the other night, and it looks like it's. Oh, and who's in it? Billy Bob Thornton.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Billy Bob Thornton's in it, and
Yeah, it looks good.
it's going to be a good. You know what?
Modern day tale and fortune seeking in the world of West Texas oil rigs. Oh,
Everything Taylor Sheridan does is good. He's a good storyteller.
Yeah.
He's, you know what he, and I've been doing this for 42 years. I've worked around a lot of people. He's unbelievably talented as a writer, as a director. I've worked with him as he's directing. I've worked with him on Lioness, where he's directing and being one of the lead actors.
Yeah.
That's not easy.
Yes.
I've worked with Kevin Costner too, doing that, and I'm like, that's a big responsibility, you know.
That's a lot of hats you're wearing at work.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and he's such a good storyteller, as we all know from Yellowstone, you know.
That's coming. The finale's coming up on that too. Yeah. They have the last season.
Really?
Yeah, last season's started today, maybe. Today, I don't know. It starts it's soon.
yeah. Well, I'm going to do a little intro real quick. See if I can do this without stuttering. Welcome to H&D Comedy, where we have that 8-inch D, since we both have.
He's a classy guy.
This is a classy episode today.
Welcome to H&D Comedy Podcast.
Work it, boy.
Get funky, get freaky.
With your host, HAFA and Davey.
Oh, baby. Ooh.
Thanks for tuning in.
Today's guest has over 40 years experience as a stuntman and over 140 feature films, over 1,000 episodes on TV. Not only has he wrote and directed 2 feature films, but he wrote, produced, and starred in 2 feature films. He's also shot over 150 action sequences on movies and TV shows, such as Planes, Trains, Automobiles, Forced to Kill, Payback, which were the 2 feature films, Cobra, Midnight Run, The Sting 2, Far and Away, Mission Impossible 2, Fast 5, Vanilla Sky, Backdraft, Get Carter, Tango and Clash, No Man's Land, Dragnet, Poltergeist 3, and shows like The Dukes of Hazzard, The A-Team, Hunter, The Fall Guy, Lethal Weapon, Banshee, Entourage, Silk Stockings. There's so many more that I could have listed, but my hands started hurting from writing so much, you know. And my favorite movies that you were in were Revenge of the Nerds.
Yeah,
I love those movies.
classic.
I saw that it says Blood In, Blood Out. Were you in that?
Yes,
Really?
yes.
So
Taylor Hackford was the director.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a scary experience, actually.
So you're Vatos Locos for life, huh?
Yeah.
Me, Myself, and Irene, Taxi, The Island, National Treasure, Book of Secrets, all the Transformers movies, and Horrible Bosses. He's been to a lot of places like Spain, Hong Kong, Austria, London, Canada, and Dubai to record films. And he's also a 3-time winner Red Bull Taurus World Stunt. So please welcome Corey Eubanks.
Thank you for having me, guys.
That's a hell of a resume, dude.
It's all made up.
Oh my God.
It's all bullshit.
This guy's an actor. We paid him to be here.
This is a lie.
Sounded good. I'm like, I haven't heard half of those movies.
So no, most of that is bullshit.
No.
That's all true.
I was gonna say,
all true.
Yeah, that's all true.
It's all true.
I was gonna say I listened to it on the podcast because I was all listening. I was like, okay, he was in that.
You were in Revenge of the Nerds.
Yeah,
As
myself.
really?
Yeah. When Ogre is hanging the guy off the frat house, whatever you call it, the fraternity house, by his ankles,
That's you.
and he drops him.
He's the guy that.
got dropped.
That's awesome.
That was me. Took no talent at all.
Yeah.
Just had to have gravity that day.
They're like, hey, you're going to fall.
Yeah, you're
I
gonna fall.
want you to know I've been bragging about you here lately. I've been telling him, I'm like, you seen Fast Five, right? You know the big bus? That guy. I'm like, that guy.
You know that Revenge of the Nerds was my very first distant location movie.
Really?
Yeah. 'Cause my very first movie was called The Sting 2 with Jackie Gleason, Carl Malden, Mac Davis. And I was like 17 years old. But yeah, then to go on location, and I'm like, oh, they fly you, and then you get per diem, you get your own hotel room, and we were on the campus of, what was it, Tucson, Arizona, on campus.
That's what we were going to add. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
So you went to.
And you know who else was in that? Was John Goodman. Remember John Goodman?
Yeah.
Revenge of the Nerds?
Yeah, he played the coach. He was all skinny back
Oh,
then.
my God.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be watching. I'm gonna go back and watch all these old movies, and I'm gonna be like, holy shit.
Yeah, he had me hooked when he said you were on Dukes of Hazzard. I was like, I'll talk to this guy all day.
Yeah.
You know what's so funny? Because I'm going to be 63, right? I started on Dukes.
Don't look like it.
I was 18. Well, thank you. But yeah, when people say, "Oh yeah, you worked on Dukes," oh hey, how was Jessica Simpson? Did you meet Johnny Knoxville?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
You're like,
no.
wrong one, bro.
Let's go back another 20 years. I'm
You're like,
talking
no,
about the series,
the Dukes of
Dukes of
Hazzard.
The original.
Yes.
the original.
So did you work with, you worked with the cast. You worked with both pairs of cousins. You worked with.
Yeah, when Coy and Vance came on,
Yeah.
Byron Cherry was the blonde-haired guy, the shorter of the two. Is it Chris Meyer?
Yeah.
Chip. What was his name? The other guy who he committed suicide.
Yeah. I can't remember his name.
Chris, I forget, but Byron Cherry, he's still with us. He was the shorter of the two, and so Paul Baxley, who was the stunt coordinator, second unit director, he's like, "Yeah, Corey, you're going to double this guy. You'll be his double." And he goes, "Why don't you bleach your hair and show up Monday with have it bleached and dyed blonde?" And he was just fucking with me, and I didn't know it. So I went.
You did it?
I went and did it, and I had to sit in a salon for 8 hours as they
Yeah.
bleached my hair.
Strip your hair.
Yeah.
And then it came in, and the ash blonde that they put in was horrific. I looked like a plant. It looked like that plant over there was just kind of greenish, glowing. Yeah, and so I show up Monday morning, all like, I hope this is gonna. And I see him in the parking lot in the morning at base camp, and that's where all the trailers are parked and all the equipment. And I go, "Sir, is this gonna work?" Or and he looks at me, and goes, "Are you a fucking idiot? We got wigs for that." I'm like, so I wore a wig over my blonde hair.
You had to walk around with blonde hair for how long?
Oh, it took forever.
Yeah.
It took forever.
That's awesome.
I did listen that when you started on the Dukes of Hazzard, that the stuntmen that were already there and stuff, they were kind of mad at the fact that you were coming in at such a young age, and you were like, they used to pick on you a lot. And I heard that they crushed up some fiberglass and put it in one of your shirts.
That was some of the nice things they did.
Yeah, that's true.
There was ruthless, and rightfully so, because I got to tell you something. The only reason I got to work on the Dukes of Hazzard was because of nepotism. My father, do you know who my dad is?
Bob Eubanks.
Bob Eubanks did the Newlywed Game, and
Yeah. That's your dad?
yeah, announced the Rose Parade for, I don't know, 30 some years. Oh, just real quick, one piece of trivia that people go, "What?" They don't know about my dad. They go, first of all, he's got a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame for being a radio disc jockey. He was the #1 radio disc jockey in LA on KRLA for 5 years. Produced the very first Beatles concert ever in the United States.
Really?
Oh, wow.
At the Hollywood Bowl in 1964.
Well, okay.
What? I know. People, what are you talking about? Yeah. Produced the Rolling Stones, Fleetwood Mac, the Beach Boys, Chicago. He had a company called Concert Express. Dang. So that's where so when he got hired for the Newlywed Game, a producer named Paul Picard hired my dad. Well, Paul Picard became the executive producer of the Dukes of Hazzard. So when I was like wanting to be a stuntman, I had gone to a stunt school, Kim Kahana's stunt school. I was rodeoing professionally at the time in the PRCA.
Okay.
I rode bulls and bareback horses and met a lot of the stunt coordinators in that world too. But to get on the Dukes of Hazzard at the time was the #1 show on CBS, #1 show on television at
In the world, right?
the time. Yeah, it was huge. And I just remember saying to my dad, I go, God, because I had visited I came to my mom's house and he was there. And I remember what Dukes was on. And I said to my dad, God, I'd just love to jump that General Lee someday. That'd be like a dream come true. And my dad goes, I know the executive producer. Hang on a second. Goes into his office and calls him. 20 minutes later, comes back out. He goes, you start on Monday. And I'm like, what? Are you serious? He goes, yeah, you're going to start on Monday. He says, I guess some gentleman named Paul Baxley is going to call you and talk to you about what you got to do to get on this, to work as a stuntman. I had just, like 2 weeks prior, got my SAG card, the Screen Actors Guild card, on the Sting too, because I had played a part of a boxer.
Right.
And I got Taft-Hartley by a guy named Ron Stein, who was the one who taught Sylvester Stallone in all of the Rocky movies. He was he was the stunt coordinator. Damn. And I used to box as an amateur, and I used to spar with Frank Stallone, and so there's a whole thing that ties together in that. Yeah. But when my dad came in, he told me that, I could not believe it. Next thing you know, the phone rings. It's Paul Baxley, and I go, hey, Paul, hi. He goes, I understand you want to become a stuntman. I go, yes, sir. I went to Kim Kahana Stunt School, and I've ridden motorcycles. I surf. I've been, I rodeo professionally. He goes, yeah, well, first thing we got to do is get you your SAG card. I go, sir, I just got my SAG card on the Sting too. And it goes, oh, well, then show up at Lake Sherwood 6:30 on Monday. So I show up, and this show has already been going on for a while. Everybody knew each other. I'm this strange little kid, look like I'm 12. And they're like, who's that? And he's going to work on the show as a stunt guy. Stunt guy? Well, I've never heard of you before. Who are you? And so they hated me. And like I said, rightfully so. I had no experience, I had no talent. It was nepotism that got me in the door. So it's like, we can't fire him. Hey, let's see if we can kill him. Let's kill him and get him off the show. and a lot of people don't know that they actually did kill one of the crew members on Dukes. Got killed. Yeah, I'll tell you guys about that if you want to hear about that. But so anyway, yeah, I get on the show and like I said, I knew nothing. So whenever there was a passenger in the General Lee or in the Roscoe car or whoever the passenger was, that was me. Yeah, for the first 6 months.
Slung around.
Not really, but I just I had a double Boss Hogg or Kathy Bach or Daisy Duke, and I don't know how that's a little humiliating.
I heard I know the story about he had to come in there with a skirt, and wig and everything, and they were like, we don't need a stunt double, and he's like,
yeah,
well, I'm here.
Yeah.
So he turns around like this. He's like, fine.
Got a couple whistles.
Who died?
There's a first assistant camera operator who pulling focus, and they have the shot maker is this vehicle that had the cameras on it, and it was shooting backwards on the General Lee following it, and it was kind of dusty, the road, so they were seeing the dust in the foreground. So they said, we're noticing that there's, we're not supposed to have a vehicle in front of the General Lee, and we're getting all this dust. Let's bring the water truck through. Everybody can go back to number one. We're going to do this again. So going back to number one, and they turn around, and George Ogburn was the water truck driver. He came through, and when he made the turn, he slowed way, way, way down and just dumped too much water, unbeknownst to anybody. And back then, everybody rode on the shot maker. A couple of grips, the script supervisor, a couple of electricians, the first assistant director, and all these people. Too many people.
Yeah.
So when they came around the corner, and the guy who was pulling focus, there's an aluminum plate that they put the camera on so they could slide it, right? You guys have probably seen those. And this guy had that across his lap. So he was sitting underneath it, right? So when the vehicle went around the corner and it slid and it went off the embankment and it rolled, there was 13 people on it. Well, 12 got ejected except for him. So when it rolled over, it crushed him and then flipped back up. And
oh, man.
So yeah, he got killed. But
that's crazy. Yeah, I never knew that.
And I went to the hospital on Dukes of Hazzard. I went to the hospital 4 or 5 times.
Damn.
On that show, yeah.
Loose. And I know one of them, when you went to the hospital, you met I forgot his name, but it was another professional stuntman.
Tommy Huff.
Yes.
Can I tell you that story?
Yes, please.
Tommy Huff.
Well, hold on. You got to tell them in our audience what led you to get to the hospital.
Oh, yeah.
That stunt.
Thank you.
That's
Yeah.
Stunt. Yeah,
We
yeah.
just didn't show up at the hospital.
Yeah, you're not just
just-
showing. Hey,
Go to the hospital.
want to see something cool?
Go get some hospital
Broke my
food.
leg.
Some hospital food. Yeah. Let's go. I hear it's really good.
They got good Jello.
So yeah, there was an episode on the Dukes where I guess the General Lee was stolen, and it was being remote control driven. So they're like, "How the hell are we going to do that?" Well, who's the shortest guy in the set? Well, we'll get Corey, and we'll put him on the floor of the General Lee, and put some Dubatine over him, and give him a walkie-talkie. And I'm crouched out like in the fetal position on the floor. And I have a walkie-talkie that's taped to the floor beside me. With my right hand, I do the gas and the brake, and with my left hand, I steer, based off what Jerry Summers
It's telling you.
is telling me where to go.
Left.
So I've
left.
I've watched that episode.
Did you really?
Yeah, I've seen all of them.
Oh.
I'm not bullshit. Like I had all the VHSs.
Wow.
Yeah, oh yeah, dude. Duke's a Hazard fan, bro. So I've
That's
seen
so
that
cool.
episode. That's great. That's awesome. That you were just crouched on the floor,
Or
just like
driving.
Because it makes you think, how did they do that? And
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
Oh, they had Corey under.
And if you ever drive a car on the gravel, you guys know it's loud,
Yes.
right? So imagine being right there on the floorboard, and the tires are right there.
Especially in them old cars.
Oh my God, it was so loud. So I had the volume all the way up, and Jerry Summers like, okay, and action, Corey, take off. Okay, to your left, a little bit more to your left, to your right, to your right, to your right. Okay, to your left. Those are my instructions for 5 days. Yeah. But we got good at it.
Yeah.
And he even backing me up to number one. We did a mini ramp jump. I had to jump over Cliff Happy and Marguerite Happy, husband and wife, who were doubling Luke, Tom Wopat, his full figure double.
Yeah.
I only doubled Tom Wopat in the car, but Cliff Happy was his full figure stunt double, and his wife Marguerite would double Kathy Bach every now and then. So I had to do a mini ramp jump over them. I couldn't see them. I'm like, oh my God, nerve wracking.
yeah.
But so I get this down, and Gary Baxley had been directing second unit, and it's kind of like we're getting it down. Routine, go to number one. This time, come in camera right, go out camera left, and only thing I couldn't do was power slide that vehicle, right? Because I was too scared. I wasn't brave enough to. I'm going to power slide it, just get around the turn based on what Jerry Summers was telling me. And so Friday, end of the day, last shot. Oh, we got one more shot. Quick, Corey, go up past the boar's nest, turn around. You're just going to come flying by camera. I said, okay. And I got up there and turned around and got set. Ready? Got my walkie-talkie. Yeah, I'm ready to go. And okay, action, Corey, take it. I start coming down the road a little bit faster. I'm going like, okay, that's good. Hold that speed. Like I said, it's loud. Now I'm not hearing any direction. I'm thinking, oh shit, did my walkie go dead? It's the end of the week. It's the end of the day. I'm checking my volume. And all of a sudden, I just crash into something. And I thought I hit a tree. And the emergency brake goes into my back, and it rips open, it tears open the radiator and the firewall, and the fan's blowing hot radiator fluid on me, and the steering wheel came down and kind of pinched my neck into the seat. It sucked. And I'm trying to get out, and they come in and they open the door, and I'm thinking, fuck, I hit a fucking tree. And I flop onto the ground. And I remember looking underneath, and I saw Clifford Happy fall to the ground, and Russell Solberg flop through the ground. I'm like, oh my God, they must have been behind the tree. I'm still trying to connect the dots. I can't make sense of this. And I stand up, and I'm like, oh, and I see the Daisy Jeep just smashed head on into the General Lee. I'm like, the hell's going on? I didn't know because nobody told me we're doing a head-on near miss.
You didn't miss.
And we didn't miss. And we didn't miss. Yeah.
You didn't.
You see the
it's
scar.
funny, 'cause they should call it a near hit,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It should be a near
Yeah,
hit.
because
You
a near
nearly
miss
hit,
is
a near-
hitting.
You're hitting.
Yeah.
But for some reason in the stunt world, it's always been a near miss. So So that happens. We hit head on, and Russell Solberg is moaning and groaning, and Clifford Happy kind of sounded like a freaking cat that had its paw stuck in a car door. Quick, get him to the hospital. And so we get loaded up in this van, and they haul us off to the hospital. I think this is my fourth time going to hospital on Dukes. And we get out there in Santa Clarita, and they come in the emergency room, and like, what's wrong with you? And Clifford's like, I don't know, I think I'm going to die, and I'm so much pain. Quick, put him in that room down there, and the doctor, they rush to him, and Russell, what's wrong with you? And Russell was John Schneider's full figure stunt double. 6'4", and he's like, I don't know, but I feel like my guts are cut in half. I had the seatbelt on, and they're like, quick, go into that room. And they're like, what's wrong with you? And I go, well, I got this scratch in my back. They're like, you're gonna be fine. Lay on this gurney.
They like
I'm like,
just pour some alcohol on it.
Get some dirt. They go outside, get some dirt. They're like,
you're gonna be fine. So I'm laying on this gurney in the hallway, feeling no love at all from anybody, right? Just the forgotten.
Yeah,
I wasn't complaining loud enough or something.
new guy.
And then all of a sudden, I'm hearing down the hallway this squeak, squeak, squeak sound, like wheel, squeak, squeak, squeak. And they parked this gurney right alongside me with the feet next to my head and this man with his face at the other end, and he's moaning and groaning. Oh, God, damn. Oh. And it's just he and I. That's it. And I'm like, after a minute or so of him, in excruciating pain, I said, were you in a car accident? He goes, no, man, I'm a Hollywood stuntman. I was working on a show called Airwolf and doing what's called an air ram, and I overshot the pads and hit a rock and broke my fucking hip. I go, damn, man, I'm sorry. That's horrible. He goes, what are you here for? What are you in here for? What do you? I go, I'm a stuntman too, and I was on Dukes of Hazzard. We had a head-on near miss, and we hit head-on, and couple stuntmen meeting in the hallway of a hospital. I guess we're not very good, huh, motherfucker? I go, what's your name? He goes, Tommy Huff. I go, you're Tommy Huff? Oh, my God, I've heard all about you. I'm Corey Eubanks. And so 2 stuntmen meeting in the hallway of a hospital.
Small world, right
Yeah.
there.
He said, I overshot that and broke my fucking hip.
What did you do?
Cool, man.
Well,
I got a back scratch.
Yeah, I had a scratch on my back. You ever get a sticker in your shirt?
Yeah.
You see, I was laying in the floorboard and I wrecked this car.
So there was a couple times on Dukes where they have no driver. Like one they have maybe it's the same episode. They think it's possessed, right? They think it's like a ghost. It's like a ghost car.
I don't think I saw that one. Wait, before we move on to that,
Yeah.
if we could just go back for a sec to the Tommy Huffy. I don't know if I mentioned the show Airwolf.
Yeah, I've never heard of it.
Yeah, I don't think I've never.
Jan Michael Vincent. It was a helicopter, that magical helicopter called Airwolf. Reason I say that is because what was one of my closest friends growing up was Reed Rondell, and he was killed on Airwolf.
Oh shit!
When the helicopter crashed, and his father, Ronnie Rondell, was one of the guys who's launched Stunts Unlimited with Hal Needham and Dick Zeicher, and started their own stunt group, and just a living legend, this Ronnie Rondell. And there's R.A. Rondell, his son, and Reed, just multi-talented guy, but he was doubling Jan Michael Vincent in the helicopter, and they had done some flybys, and they basically had the shot in the can. They got it, but the DP, the director of photography, was like, oh, the sun's so beautiful right now. Let's just do one more just for stock footage. Just go back. And the pilot was like, so he just banked to go back. They were filming up behind this place called Magic Mountain. And the sun, I guess, was flaring the bubble or whatever he had. And he couldn't really see, and just stuffed it right into a hillside. And Reed was 23 years old because we were supposed to go out that night and introduce our fiancés to each other.
Damn, dude.
And so it's just, and it's just one of those things. I mean, I've lost a lot of friends in the industry. It's so many people like, I want to be a stuntman. I'll fucking do anything. I go, well, you'll have a very short career. I'll promise you that.
Yeah.
Because even when you're being as cautious as you can, gosh, there's been another friend of mine, Jeff Brewer. When I was doing Midnight Run, he was my passenger. I was doubling Robert De Niro. He was doubling Charles Grodin, and he was killed in a helicopter crash doing a Chuck Norris film down in Mexico. And there's been a lot of helicopters.
That one whenever he flew over the bus and
the skid hit.
Yeah, just hits it, and his wife came around and was like, oh, ha, 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 he was so close. And you're like, close my ass.
She tried to tell me that what I was experiencing was the downwash from the blades. That's what you were experiencing.
Yeah.
I go, time out. I've lost friends in helicopters. I know how dangerous they are. And that dent wasn't in the top of my bus until your husband hit it with the skids of his helicopter. So don't pull this bullshit on me.
Yeah. No.
So I'm sorry, you were asking me something else about.
No. That's crazy, bro. So I've never heard of Airwolf. Did you end up working with Huff?
Oh yeah, the last thing I worked with Tommy Huff on was Starsky and Hutch,
The
movie.
movie.
The movie.
Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was Ben Stiller's stunt double on that.
That's cool. Hell yeah. Good time.
Went to the hospital on that movie too. Here's the thing you got to understand: if you're going to be be a stuntman, you're going to go to the hospital.
Well,
Yeah.
What's weird is that you go to the hospital dressed as the actors that you're doubling. Like I had to go to the hospital twice, doubling Pee Wee Herman.
He told me this earlier.
Yeah, it's just humiliating. Humiliating.
He goes in the hospital and he's like, "Ha! I need help."
They're all fuck, God damn it.
Yeah, get this guy out of here.
And then you go to the hospital dressed as Ben Stiller
Yeah.
at 3 a.m. Just people just look at you weird.
Yeah. They're like, it's not even close to Halloween.
Yeah.
Yeah, why is he dressed in '70s clothes?
But they pay for, like, if you're on a set, they pay for anytime you go to the hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know how that worked.
This is like working for like a good company around here. You know, they pay for all this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, some companies I work for, they're like, fuck.
Yeah.
I've worked for companies where they're like, if you fall off that ladder, you're fired before you hit the ground.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, because then we're not covered under our insurance.
Yeah,
We
that's when
fired
I'll
you.
say them. I'll be like, "Well, I'm landing on you, so
I'm aiming for you.
yeah."
That's cool. I mean, that would be weird being like, I was on a movie set. I'm not just being weird, dude. I wasn't just in my basement dressed as Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah.
We'll see, 2024. That's kind of how it is nowadays. Most people just dress how they want. So you know, you go into a hospital and you see somebody in a clown outfit. It's like,
It's
you
normal.
work for the circus, and it's like, no, I just dress like this. And it's
But
like,
the first time I jumped the bicycle over a 17-foot high fence, and we built 1,000 cardboard boxes to crash into. Interesting fact, there's been 13 people, stuntmen, killed going into airbags in the movie business, and not one person killed doing high falls into boxes. So they're very safe,
yeah,
unless you overshoot them.
Yeah. In which case?
Which I did. This guy, Bruce Robles, the effects guy, had a VW engine-powered winch that was operated like a motorcycle. And he put it in gear, and they pulled me on a cable. And the jump ramp was 9 feet tall, and it was 70 feet long. Something like Evel Knievel would be like, that's perfect. We'll clear all those buses. And I was like, and this was Tim Burton's very first movie. You know Tim Burton, the director.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And so on a Friday, we went and we put up 2 poles and a rope to simulate the height of the 17-foot high fence. And I had my helmet on and hard plastic elbow pads. I used to race BMX, so I was comfortable with it. And we were doing jumps to get into the middle. And all based off Bruce Robles' feel, the RPMs, because there was no speedometer on this winch system. It was just, I'll have it in first gear and listen to the RPMs. And he watches me go by, and long story short, we did this all afternoon until we finally were going bullseye right in the middle, clearing the string and going in the middle. Now, Friday's gone, Saturday, Sunday. Now it's Monday. We show up, and I'm dressed in my little red bow tie and the stupid suit. Pee Wee Herman. And I remember Tim Burton coming up to me and said, "How do you feel about this?" I go, "We got this. This is good." On Friday, we were right bullseye in the middle, and we got this down. It's like, we're professionals,
I'm super professional, guys.
Yeah, super professional. And so I see Paul Baxley, who was the stunt coordinator on Dukes. Mm-hmm. This is a Warner Brothers thing, so he was now the stunt coordinator on Pee-wee's Big Adventure. And I see him walk up to Bruce Robles, pat him on the back and point to the sky, and then turns back at me and gives me a thumbs up. And I'm like, I'm too far away to hear what that conversation was. What? Yeah. What was that little...
Yeah.
This.
Yeah.
Don't do this.
What's that? Yeah. So, and then like, "Corey, you ready?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm really," and again, a monkey could have done this. It didn't take any talent. I didn't even have to pedal. I mean, it pulls me, and right when you get to the ramp, it pulls the cable off the front of the forks, and you just up over the thing you go. But I could tell by the speed that I was going, the buildings going by, it was a lot faster than what we had rehearsed on Friday.
Yeah.
Whole nother different animal. I'm like, this is not. And so, on the bicycles, you could pull the right pedal back and it locks the drum brake. That's what I was doing. Whole skid mark going up the ramp because I knew I was going too fast. And I tried to ditch the bike to get down to the boxes and just clip like the last 3 because this guy Ray Schaefer had a mattress, and I got a photo of this I could show you guys.
Send it to me so I'll put it on the
Okay.
podcast.
Yeah.
And
be right
and
here.
he kind of pushed me into the grass. Anyway, I hit my head and woke up, I don't know, maybe 5-10 minutes later in the back the back of a van going to the hospital there in Burbank, and that's when I walked in. I mean, they wheeled me in, and I was in this room, and I remember the nurse was really super cute, and I was like,
So, girl.
trying to flirt with her a little bit, and then saw my reflection in the glass of the door.
Yeah. You're like,
Still got the bow tie on. He's like, oh, shit.
I don't stand a chance. She's like, who's this freak? And I'm thinking like, yeah, I'm a stuntman. Like, they're like, you hit your head.
Yeah.
I did.
Hey, weirdo.
I'm still a stuntman.
And I'm still a stuntman.
I'm not just dressed like this.
You know, I would get Christmas cards from Paul Rubens every year.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I wrote and directed a movie called Bigfoot, The Unforgettable Encounter, right? All of a sudden, the first AD, Alex Gaynor, comes up to me and says, hey, Corey, he goes, hey, Pee-wee's here to see you. I'm like, oh, okay, ha, ha, ha. You found out that I doubled Pee-wee Herman, and now,
You're going to make jokes.
you're going to make jokes about it.
Making jokes.
Yeah, and he goes, no, he's here. I go, what? He goes, Paul Rubens, he's here. Paul, and I walk out in the front driveway, and there he is. One of his friends that used to be a roommate of his years ago was one of the actors I cast.
Okay.
I didn't know that, and he had told him, yeah, Corey Eubanks, all right. He came by to congratulate me.
That's awesome.
Hell
That
yeah,
was really
dude.
cool.
Yeah, it was super cool, you know?
Fucking Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah,
Pee-wee
dude.
Man, that's awesome.
Yeah, Pee-wee Herman, Sylvester Stallone. I
Yeah.
double all the big
Yeah.
action stars.
Yeah, Robert De Niro.
Big action
Robert
stars.
De Niro.
George Clooney.
Yeah.
But speaking of that, I heard you punched George Clooney on his birthday.
That he punched himself. He punched himself, and that was a funny story on Ocean's 11.
Okay.
And backing up before I get into that about George Clooney, I did the pilot for ER. Guys, remember that show?
Mm-hmm.
And George Clooney was this arrogant, pompous, egotistical asshole. And I'm like, in real life. And I'm working with Anthony Edwards. We knew each other from Revenge of the Nerds.
Yeah.
Noah Wiley, just really super nice guy. And George Clooney with the attitude. And
Always one.
there's got to be. There's got to be. So then that was the pilot, and then I came back a few shows. It got picked up. Oh, matter of fact, I was on the episode when it was announced that the show got picked up, and everyone was celebrating. So now we fast forward many, many years, and I'm now doubling George Clooney on Ocean's 11. And I remember seeing him in the makeup trailer, and hey, you're gonna be my double. I go, you don't remember me, do you? I go, I was working with you on the pilot of ER. Oh yeah, I go, yeah. When you were kind of an asshole to everybody. He goes, yeah, I kind of was, wasn't I? That's because I was frustrated. I wasn't a big movie star, but now I am, so I'm happy. That's good for you. Good for you,
Cool,
George.
George.
So in
Can I
this,
call you George?
yeah. So in this scene, we're in an elevator shaft, and they rappel down. It's so freaking stupid. The whole concept of it. Who was that director? Steven Soderbergh.
Mm-hmm.
And that we're gonna have magnets. They're gonna attach to the side of the.
Oh, yeah. I remember
And that
that.
magnet's gonna hold your weight as you decelerate down on a cable. Then when it comes to the end and it's too short, you're gonna take your knife and cut the cable.
Yeah.
What kind of knife are we talking about here? You know, that's like right there. I'm like
It's a Michael Bay knife.
a Michael Bay knife. So I remember George was and the shot was George was supposed to grab the cable and reach up, and as soon as he reaches his hand up, it's got a quick release up out of frame, and we got these porta pits below him, and they're like 3 foot of foam, and as soon as he reaches his hand up out of frame, they're going to hit a quick release, and he's going to fall. Well, he's in the middle of telling a story to Steven Soderbergh, who's the director, who's also operating the camera for the shot. And I'm trying to tell him, hey, George, don't pull on the cable, because if you pull on it and it releases, it's going to hit. Yeah, it's a good job, Corey. I've done this before. I did this before. I've got this down. But thank you. You're looking out for you're concerned about my well-being, and I appreciate that.
Corey's like, okay, Batman.
Yeah, okay.
Terrible
George.
Batman.
Horrible.
Horrible.
Not Michael Keaton.
No.
No.
Nobody is.
So I just stand back like, okay, you do your thing. Sure enough, he reaches up, pulls himself up, and they release and smacks himself in the eye, and he screams out loud like a little bitch. Ah! Falls under the porta pit. First AD gets his walk, medic to the set, medic. Everyone's got their cell phones out. Oh my God. And it spreads through the back lot of Warner Brothers like a wildfire, like that. Oh my God, what happened? He's got hit in the eye. What happened? So we had borrowed these porta pits from Steven Spielberg's show Minority Report that Tom Cruise was working on. They're like 3 or 4 sound stages over. We had borrowed, so they heard about it. So at the end of the day, when I go back to we were to carry these porta pits back, I get surrounded by the stunt guy. Corey, what happened? What happened? Heard you punch George in his eye. I go, what?
What?
And they go, and it's his birthday.
Birthday.
And when you say, you go, I punched George in the eye? See, you admitted it. I'm like, no. I'm saying that's what you guys are thinking.
Yeah.
And I didn't punch George. He punched himself in the eye on his birthday. And no one, they don't know if they believe me or not. I didn't freaking care. I'm like, and he was an asshole. Hell of a basketball player, though.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Really?
he could shoot hoops.
That's cool. I mean, that's weird. That's weird. I wouldn't think of him.
That's like Sandler. Everybody
Yeah.
didn't expect him to be such a
Sandler
good
was like
basketball
athletic
player.
when he was young. I don't know. I just
Was
never,
he?
Yeah.
Adam Sandler?
He's always been like very athletic. Like he did all like a
But
lot
I
of
just
the
never
golf
looked at
stuff.
Clooney and been like, oh, that's a basketball player for sure.
I know maybe the Anthony Edwards because he was taller.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Clooney.
And I watched him play Batman, and I was like, he's not athletic at all. What the fuck?
What about a bat card?
Sorry, George.
George don't watch this.
I know.
Do you?
Yeah, do you, George? Yeah.
Don't call me, dude. I'm
I
not
like
gonna
Three
answer.
Kings, but that's because Ice Cube was in it.
That was the movie that he said he did the thing where he did the same exact gag. He was hanging from a rope and he had to cut it to fall. Do you remember that scene?
I've never seen it.
Not unless it was like he was coming out of the helicopter, because I think most of it was like either in a building or they were in the Humvees. If I
never
remember,
seen that
I haven't seen it in
didn't see it.
years.
Yeah.
All these movies that came out, I watched growing up, and I'm only 29, so like, I'm a young kid watching these movies, and I'm like, whoa, these movies are so cool, and I watch them now, and I'm like, whoa, these movies are still so cool.
Nostalgia now.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I just like them old school. Like I watched, what was it? Not Die Hard, Hard Target with Van Damme, where he's like he goes back in there, or they're doing that where if you can outrun them or whatever, then you get so much money or something like that, and like I don't know. But I loved movies like that growing up and stuff, and a lot of it I was like, wow, boobies, because it was literally like in every movie.
Every 90s movie, man, it's boobies.
Yeah. Yeah. I doubled Van Damme on a thing.
I remember on your podcast you were saying something
Yeah.
about Van Damme.
On a motorcycle. And he could ride a motorcycle. But he didn't want to put the helmet on because it was going to mess up his hair.
Yeah, that's right.
Fair enough. So I get the same thing with him. He doesn't want to.
Don't touch my do, man. Takes a lot to get it like this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Speaking of other actors, you said you worked with Jason Bateman on your stuff, and there was that one on Horrible Bosses, like you were trying to do a stunt or something, and they were like, "Oh, we keep seeing you," and he's
Yes.
like, "I think I'm gonna have to do it."
That was on Bad Words,
Okay.
the movie Bad Words.
Okay.
That he was one of the producers. He was starring in it, and he was directing it. And yeah, this shot was just a simple thing, really. Driving a police car, starting off at a curb, and taking off and peeling out and going down the street where they had a a crane that was going to boom up as he's approaching, and then do a slide through the intersection and see take off. So I do this, but I peel out, come down the street towards camera. As I'm heading straight toward Lens, they're like watching the monitor and like, that's not Jason. Then we could tell that's Corey. So he come and I did pitched it sideways and did a little Dukes of Hazzard slide around the corner, and it looked pretty good in my opinion. But so he comes up and says, "Hey, we're Corey, we're seeing you. That was good, but I'm gonna have to jump in here and do this." I said, "Oh, okay, Mr. Director, producer,
Mr. Hollywood.
star, stunt guy."
Do you even drive a car? Have
Yeah.
you?
Does everything. So I step off on the sidewalk and just being honest, there was a huge part of me that just wanted to see him fucking fail, wash out and hit the curb or loop it and just be like, I didn't want him to do good at all.
Did he nail it?
He smoked me. He did the best freaking peel out, and I'm like, okay, he's riding the brake a little bit to make it look, because you get more, if you just resist the momentum of going forward, you get a bigger burnout.
Right.
He's hauling ass toward, he's going way too fast. No, he did hit the e-brake sooner, so he got a longer skid, pitched it sideways, went right over my tracks, but went longer, nice sideways drift, got on the gas and accelerated down the street. I'm like, everybody in the set knew it was better than mine, because they would look back to see my reaction, right? So I'm like, fuck. So now Jason drives by. He's all proud of himself because I can see he's driving right to me.
Yeah.
I'm on the sidewalk.
Gonna let you know.
To come up to ask you. So Corey, through the passenger, so what did you think? I'm like, oh, what? I don't know. I was looking at the pigeons that were flying over and never saw your frickin' slide.
Never saw that piece of shit.
Piece of shit. No, he can drive.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, he does some of those celebrity races, like with
Is he
Dempsey.
like a pretty cool dude?
Very cool.
I've heard a lot of good things about him. That he's like the nicest person. on
I've
set
done
and
what,
stuff.
3 movies with him. I did Identity Thief. I did Bad Words. I did Horrible Bosses 1 and 2. Just a great to the people on the set. Funny guy, approachable.
Cool.
Who do you think's funnier, Jason Bateman or what's his name? Jason
George Clooney?
No, Sadusky, the other guy that was on Horrible Bosses.
Not
Charlie
Jason
Day.
Sudeikis.
Jason, yes.
Who?
Sudeikis.
Oh, Bateman. Yeah, he's just a funny guy.
Yeah.
Funny.
He is the original Teen Wolf, so
Yeah.
He plays
Work
such.
on that?
He plays such a good just an asshole.
like he has that where he's
can.
real calm,
Yeah.
but then like he just flips and he's like, "Fuck it." Fuck it. I love when those happen in the movies. When he does that, you're like, "It's about to go down."
Yep.
Oh man.
That's crazy. Okay. You've worked with a lot of people.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have. I mean, hell, I did a music video with Michael Jackson. I was Justin Bieber's stunt double on a music video. Worked with
Kind of look like him.
who's that
like
dude
Biebs.
in Maroon 5? What's the guy's?
Adam Levine.
Adam Levine. That was a funny story. We're shooting a music video with Adam Levine.
You actually kind of do look like Adam Levine. That's weird.
Oh, but I didn't double him. I was just playing a cop with Eric Norris, Chuck Norris's son.
Yeah.
Oh.
And we're chasing on foot downtown L.A. We're chasing Adam Levine on the sidewalk. And then we jump in and have a big car chase. But at first, we're chasing him on foot. But nobody knows that we're shooting a music video. Right? And they're shooting at the side of a van. So it's hidden because we were basically stealing the shot.
Right.
And people on the sidewalk are like,
What did Adam do?
yeah. Yeah. And why did they Why did they stop chasing him right at that sidewalk? They gave up and they walked back. It was
What is this, GTA?
And then
he put the
you
cheat
make them
code in.
walk, you just chase him again. They're like,
it's funny. It's like the time I was doing a BMW short movie, internet movie that Tony Scott was directing, and I was Clive Owen. I was his stunt double driving this Z4 convertible BMW in Las Vegas, and I had a square. My grid was just go 2 blocks down, make a right because they're shooting from a helicopter, and James Brown was my passenger. And it's 3:00 in the morning in Vegas. Sidewalks are packed with people, right?
That's like 3:00 in the afternoon here.
Yeah. And I'm driving around with James Brown. We're talking about stuff, and I come to this light, waiting to make the turn, and there's a bunch of people, and this one lady goes, look, this man thinks he looks like James Brown. You don't look nothing like the man. I met him in 72. And I go, no, lady, this is James Brown. And she goes, oh, no, he's not. He doesn't look nothing like the man. And James, he puts his hand on my leg. He goes, it's okay, Corey. I go, no, she's pissing me off because you deserve the respect and the recognition. This is James Brown. I'm like, get out of here.
shut up, bitch.
Yeah. Shut up. Get out of here.
That's all. He's just like, it's okay.
He's
Corey."
like,
you're like, no, like you're more
not
upset
a-
about it.
You asked for that autograph.
It's like that night we were at Universal and doing this Michael Jackson music video for three nights. And we had a bomb threat. And we had to evacuate the back lot. And everybody went out into the parking lot. And it was like weird. It was like all quiet, like what's going on? And the bomb threat, oh my God. Well, Al Wyatt Jr., funniest guy, you would have loved, he passed away. He drove the General Lee doubling John Schneider and drove the General Lee more than anybody in the world on film.
Okay.
Al Wyatt Jr. Everyone who drifting and all that stuff, all the big drifters of, Reese Millen and Tanner Faust and Rich Rutherford, all these, world champion drifters were all inspired by watching the General Lee slide. I go, you were watching Al Wyatt Jr. So Alan, great sense of humor though, right? Funny guy. So we're working on this Michael Jackson music video. There's a bomb threat. We're moving out into the parking lot, and everyone's like whispering, like, "Oh my God, what's going on?" He goes, "Hey, Corey." I go, "What?" He goes, "Your phone call worked." I'm like, "I didn't make the phone. I didn't make the bomb threat. I swear I didn't. I didn't make the bomb threat."
They're all.
I like back then you could make that joke and it's like, you got me. Now you say it and it's like, get him.
Get him, tackle him.
You're in prison for 6 years.
They're all get tased.
Yeah. Oh yeah. When I was watching Forced to Kill, whenever they had you chained up and you were running in front of the truck, they were hitting you with that cattle prod. Mm-hmm. Was that on or was it just fake?
Today's sponsor is CapCut. You like these graphics, these cooler designs, and make the whole transition to wham, 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 pow.
Right in your face, pound, picture. Sound effects.
You go to CapCut right now, or if you go down below and click the link in the description, it'll take you to CapCut, and you have 10 minutes to sign up. If you're already a member, you can still sign up.
To get Pro, but if you sign up as a new member and you get Pro, I think it's only like $90.
I think it's like 10 or 15% off purchase, so y'all should
definitely go check that out. Use it if you want to start editing stuff, and drop comments if you want me to
make videos on how to do something stuff and whatnots. So y'all be sure to go check it out. CapCut.
Ooh.
I like to say I'm a tough guy, and it was on. Yeah, I took.
Oh yeah.
No, I made sure the batteries are out. Because there's a lot of practical jokes. Those guys, and a lot of the guys that worked on that film for us, like Russell Solberg, who was John Schneider's full figure double, he directed that movie, and Al Wyatt Jr. worked on it, and so that practical joking was still possible, even though I was the producer and the star of the movie. Yeah. I knew they'd still fuck with me, and they used to do things back on Dukes that the practical jokes were a little excessive. They, the time that they took a shirt, and I was doubling Tom Wopat, and Tom Wopat always wore that blue flannel shirt. All of a sudden, here, you're going to wear this brown one. And I'm like, brown? Put this shirt on, Corey, put it on. I'm like, okay. And it's summertime. It's like 95. We're out in Valencia. It's hot. And I put this shirt on. I'm like, fuck, what is this, wool? This thing is so itchy in my armpits and my neck. And I'm like, jumping that generally right there, Corey. Not any of those. That one. They all look the same, right? They all look the same. There's a way you could tell they're different because they put a number they engrave on the back window. But getting that generally right there and take it up there to the top of that hill up there and wait for us. We'll tell you what you're doing. So I go and I'm still trying to figure out why my shirt is itching so freaking bad. And I climb in this car and the heater is on, blasting hot air. And all of the knobs that you would use to shut off the heater and turn it off are missing. Just happened to be missing.
Just happened to not be there.
What a coincidence.
Yeah, that was just like not those cars. They all had their knobs. This car. So I have my walkie-talkie and I drive up to the top of this hill and I'm sitting up there for like 15 minutes waiting for them to set cameras. And I'm like, I got on the walkie-talkie and I went to JP, the first AD. I said, hey, you want me to just save the engine because you guys aren't ready? No, we're ready to go. Corey, keep the engine running. But I could see you're not even near the camera.
You're like, what?
Nobody know. They're all standing around telling stories, right?
Sandwich.
Yeah. And I'm just like, okay, I got to see. So I jump out of the General Lee and I take this freaking shirt off, and there's all this fiberglass they had crushed up on a rock and sprinkled in the armpits and in the back of my collar because it was funny. That's funny. That's how they.
Funny.
Yeah. That's
I worked
funny.
for a fiberglass company. It's not funny.
It's not
fucking
funny.
rude.
It's horrible. And how long does fiberglass take to get out of your pores?
Oh, you have to
take cold showers.
Yeah, you can't
like
take a
no
hot shower
because
that's why they put the heater on you. Your pores open up. It goes into you.
Because that's funnier.
It's even funnier. Well, you know what's not funny? When it's 12 degrees outside, you have to come home and turn on the cold fucking water and scrub. I mean, you have to scrub it.
Oh, really? That's the secret.
Because that building, the building that you passed when you turned down this road,
yeah,
that's a fiberglass.
It's a fiberglass plant.
Oh,
and I worked there.
So they would do things like that. And
is that the worst thing they did?
No. I think one of the worst things they did to me was they wanted to see. Let's see what kind of heart you got. You want to be a stuntman? You gotta prove it that you got it in you. Let's see what you got. and you're going to double James Best and take this car and come down past the boar's nest and then off into that dried creek bed and crash it into this oak tree. Big freaking oak tree, right? I'm like, here's my opportunity. I get to show them now. I'm going to come in hot. Put the 5-point harness on and got all cinched in, ready to go. And I take off, and I don't know how fast I went, but what they did was where the eye bolts for your shoulder straps in the back, they'll put a 2-inch washer underneath so the eye bolt doesn't rip through the floorboard, because the floorboards sometimes are very thin metal. They took those 2-inch washers off and just had the little lock nut on there, lock washer. And so when I hit that tree, my shoulder straps ripped out, my chest bent the steering wheel, my head shattered the windshield. And I remember waking up in the field, and Mike Escoboza was the medic, and I'd split my head open. And I remember because he was straddling me and sweating on me. The sweat was dripping in my eye.
Gross.
And yeah, which is
injury.
But that's funny.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Murder is funny.
Comedy.
So they told me, did you check to see if you had washers on your eye bolts? I don't know what you're talking about.
That's a fucking safety issue, and I'm not the safety guy.
Right. And
I'm
so
the stunt guy.
So they're like, these are the little lessons they're teaching me, little ways like that. It's better to have you, suffer the result is if you don't.
Attempted murders.
Yeah.
It's a lesson.
So fun stuff like that they would do.
Super
that was
cool.
Dress you up as Daisy Duke when you don't need to be, and send you up to the first unit in front of all the actors.
Done that, and then had to go to the hospital as Daisy Duke.
That would have been a hard one to explain. That would have been.
Would have been like, ma'am, sir,
Sir.
what are you?
Yeah, there were some good times.
That's crazy.
Now, your Bigfoot movie, you were at Ron Howard's house, and you were writing it with his dad,
Rance,
and then his brother Clint, right? Or his brother Clint asked if you had a part in the movie for him, and you said, actually, I do.
Actually, yes, that's true. But to back up, getting ready to do Forced to Kill, I was doubling Tom Cruise on a movie called Far and Away. We were location scouting in Billings, Montana, which was with Ron Howard, all of us on horseback, like 40 people on horseback scouting locations, which was interesting because we're in Billings, Montana, scouting to recreate the Oklahoma land rush. And I remember asking Ron Howard, I said, hey, Ron, why are we in Billings, Montana and not in Oklahoma? Does Oklahoma not look like Oklahoma? Is that why we're here? Oh, it's a long story, Corey. And then he starts to ride, and he reins his horse back. He goes, I hear you're getting ready to do a little movie. We're in the middle of freaking nowhere, right? I'm like, how did you?
He's like a little bird.
Yeah, a little bird came and told me. Well, I guess some distributor knew the distributor that I was going to go through. And anyway, he goes, hey, I just want to let you know that, if you had a part for Clint, that would be awesome. And I said, oh, yeah, I'll get a part for Clint. You could absolutely. And he starts to ride off, and then he reins his horse back again. And he goes, and my dad. I go, your dad? He goes, he's an actor too. I go, oh, I didn't. Yeah, he's on this movie. I'll introduce you to him. So I met Rance and Clint, and I had put them both in that movie. And Rance and I became friends and became my writing partner. And I was in this company called PM Entertainment that does the foreign distribution for my Forced to Kill movie. And at the time, back then, I forget what year it was, but Free Willy came out.
Oh, like 93.
Remember? Yeah.
93 was.
Yeah.
Whale,
I loved it.
So PM Entertainment, the P was for Rick Pepin, and the M was Joseph Marhi. Well, George Chamy was the president, but they didn't want to call it PMS, so they just left it with PM Entertainment.
Come on. Come on. That's comedy right there.
Come on, call it PMS. So I was in there having been burned by Payback on the foreign distribution, knowing that they're all crooks. Every single one of you do foreign distribution are crooks. So I wanted to
let us find you.
I wanted to see what was going on with the foreign sales, and we're dissecting all this stuff. And George Chamy is walking around the office. This Free Willy movie, we need to do a movie about a small boy and a big animal, because all they did was action films. They never did family films, right?
Right.
And I go, yeah, you got to see if Bigfoot's available. I hear he's pretty popular. Oh, Cordy, do you have a script for it? I go, no, I'm working on a story because I had a hint. I got a hunch. He's wanting to do a Bigfoot movie. I go, you're working on a story. Picks up the phone, calls Joseph Marhe and Rick Pepin, who are upstairs. Come down. We're going to do a Bigfoot movie that Cordy is working on. They come down. And I'm like, oh, shit.
You're like,
what am I going to do? And they come in.
So they wanted you to pitch it right then?
I did.
Oh.
I did.
And I did.
They sat down on the couch. I'll never forget all three sat exactly the same. You know, when you cross your leg and put your hands over your knee. And Joseph Schmee's like, hold my calls. Okay, Cody, tell us about the Bigfoot movie. I go, well, there's this Bigfoot.
There's Bigfoot.
And a small boy. And... Because he said we needed to do a movie about a big animal and a small boy. And so I pull this story out of my ass and tell them 3/4 of the way through, they're like, that's good, cool. When can you have the script ready? Can you shoot in 7 weeks?
7 weeks?
In 7 weeks. They wanted, because they were finishing up on a film and they wanted to roll that their production team right into another movie, and they didn't have another movie to do. I'm like, oh yeah, sure, I could get it done. Yeah, that's no problem. But you know, so I remember leaving, and I called my wife, and I said, you're not going to believe what happened. And I told what I just told you, and oh my God, what are you going to do? I go, I need help with this. Because I got to be scouting locations. I need someone to help me write this. I'm going to call Rance Howard. So I call Rance. Rance, it's Corey. Hey, Corey, how are you? How you doing? I go, listen, don't laugh. Here's what happened. I told him, and he goes, Corey, Ron and I and Clint, we've been Bigfoot fans for 50 years. Come by the house. So he lived in Toluca Lake. So I go by the house. And there's a newspaper clippings about this thick on the coffee table.
It was just Bigfoot.
Oh, Bigfoot sighted in Sears parking lot. Bigfoot marries alien woman.
Parking lot.
Yeah, just Bigfoot this, Bigfoot that.
Bigfoot stole my underwear.
Yeah,
The alien ones I've never heard, but that's dope.
I know. Imagine that.
Who did the ceremony?
Gandhi.
So we start working on this story, and it's funny because I had my laptop computer, right, with my writing software, and back then computers were just coming around, right? We just now discovered the thing called the internet, right?
Oh yeah.
And
Was that early 90s?
Yeah, and Rance Howard is been writing for 50 years,
Right.
and he's pencil and paper, and literally sharpens his pencil with a knife. So he'll whittle it down and get it just right. And
I mean, that's...
so I'm like, I'm ready to go. And then, so we're working on this story. So there's Ron Howard's in town doing the music score for a movie called The Paper with Meryl Streep and I forget who else was in it. And we had the earthquake. And so he didn't want to stay in his apartment, so he was staying there at his house where he grew up. Huge Bigfoot fan. Could not believe. So every morning at 8:30, I'd show up, and Jean, his mom, would fix us, eggs and cantaloupe, and Rance and I would be sitting across talking about, and Ron would be sitting here listening in on our story and giving ideas and stuff. He's like, hey, can I make a suggestion? I go, what, Ron? What could you possibly know? I would give him, because we worked on we did Far and Away together. We did Backdraft together. He kind of by this time knew my sense of humor, and I'm like, this isn't a spaceship movie, so just it's got to be realistic, So he'd make these suggestions and shit. And one day we had changed the whole subplot of the story, and I remember Ron's like, wait, Dad, Corey, you guys just changed the whole subplot. Yeah, because we got to shoot in 5 weeks. We don't have to. You can do that? Do what? You could just change the story? Yeah. Why, you can't? I can't do that. I go, wait till you get to my level, Ron. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah, Ron, you bitch. No.
Ron, Opie.
Get out of my face, Opie.
What was the other show he did? What was that?
Happy Days.
Happy Days, yeah.
Another one of my grandmother's favorites.
So Ron wants to give me a directorial note. Ron Howard is going to give me an idea. In the movie, this boy, Zachary Ty Bryan from Home Improvements.
Yeah, I was just looking at that. That's what I was looking at.
Yeah, he's a great guy. He gets lost in the woods and steps in a bear trap. And he's yelling and screaming, and a bear smells him and comes around the corner, sees him in this bear trap, and the bear's going to come get him. Well, Bigfoot is up on the cliff and sees him and jumps down in between him and the boy, and there's a fight. And Ron wants to know, how are you going to shoot the fight? Because when we did Far and Away, I choreographed the 9 fights with Tom Cruise and worked hand in hand every day for every camera setup with Ron Howard on how it was going to be shot. So he wanted to know, can I make a suggestion? Because, I know you know fights, Corey, but this is a little bit different. May I make a suggestion? I go, yeah, what do you think? And he goes, well, if you have a long lens and you're focused on the boy's face, and in the foreground you've got the bear and Bigfoot obscured going through frame, you can't really see how violent the fight is. It's all going to be dictated and told to the audience by the expressions on the boy's face. It's kind of like reading a book. Leaves it open to your imagination. Yeah.
The audience.
And I'm like, oh my God, I never would have thought of that, right? This is genius, and everyone would think it was my idea.
He's like, Ron, you should be a producer or something.
Yeah. So it comes
credit.
Yeah. So it comes time to do the fight. We're up in Shaver Lake, California, with Bigfoot and the bear. That we had been paying this guy for 10 weeks to work with this bear to do everything in the script. So now we're first day on set. I told Doug, the guy who had the bear, I go, I just need the bear to come around these rocks and then run and exit camera left. He's got to run. He's going after the boy. He's like, oh, okay. I'll shorten up this part of the story because it's pretty in depth. But he finally, after a couple runs with the marshmallows, he puts every 10, 15 feet. Now the bear knows where to go. The bear comes around the corner and he's supposed to run. He stops and stands up on his hind legs, smells something, and takes off running the opposite direction. Gone for 6 hours. We've got. I know. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Who hired this guy?
Yeah.
Hey, you're still on the clock, motherfucker.
And the kid's over here.
Yeah.
So I'm like, when am we going to shoot? Oh my God, I can't believe this happened. So finally we get the bear back. The sun's about to set.
6 hours? This bear's
gone in the woods, chasing who knows what. And I'm like, oh my God. So now what are we going to do? And finally the bear comes back. We got to shoot. We're going to lose the sunlight. My DP's like, we got 20 minutes at best. Handheld on your shoulder. Get in here, Jeff. Let's do. I forget all about the long lens on the boy's face with the bear and the Bigfoot obscured in the forest. I'm in panic mode.
Right.
Let's just go, shoot here. We do all this stuff. Fast forward to the screening at Orion, right across the street from Ron Howard's office, where he set up so we could do the screening of the movie. And he sits right behind me. And as soon as they're starting the movie, he taps me on the shoulder. Hey, Corey, did you get a chance to remember the shot I had, the idea of the long lens? I go, no, Ron, I did. The bear ran off in the woods.
The bear ran away, Ron.
No, Ron, the bear you just decided to get didn't work.
Yeah.
They were campers.
Bloodbath. God, some of the most bizarre things happen. Just if I may tell you just one more quick story about the Bigfoot.
I got it all the time.
Dude, this is going to crack you up. We spent the special effects department spent $147,000 to make the Bigfoot suit. The head was $47,000. The robotics and the eyebrows, the ears, the lips.
Y'all didn't just get John Candy to dress up like in
Should have. Would have been a lot easier. So we're thinking about who we're going to have in this because we want Bigfoot to be 7 foot tall. So who are we going to find? This basketball player, Gary Melanson's his name, and he's 6'10". So we're going to put some shoes on him and the top. And so they build this head for him, and I get a phone call while I'm out scouting locations, still trying to finish the script. Get a phone call from the effects guys. They're like, we got a problem. I go, what's the problem? The guy that you've chosen is claustrophobic. And I'm like, oh, no, that's okay, because we're going to be out in the woods. We're outside. He's never in. No, you don't understand, Corey. He can't have anything over his head. I'm like, what? I go, what do we do? It's all molded to him. It won't fit anybody else. We got to start from scratch. And we're about 20 grand into it already. So is there a solution? What do we do? Well, if we make him another, because we have the mold, just a mat, and he wears it around the house, watching TV. Over time, he's got a document, 20 minutes today, bump it up to a half hour. He could get used to it. I'm like, okay, that's what we'll do. So we put him on payroll early and paid him to wear this frickin' Bigfoot mask.
Inside his house.
Yeah, inside his house and sleep with it and everything. So now he's like, yeah, I'm good to go. I'm good to go. It's all good. And we're out in the woods filming. And it's like 2 weeks into the shoot, and he's doing great. And in between every take, they open up the mouth and they have a little fan to blow cold air in there. And well, the battery pack that operates all the robotics is in between your shoulder blades. And through all the sweating, it was corroding the wires, unbeknownst to anybody.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Matt McCoy, who is the actor from The Hand That Rocks the Cradle, was playing my park ranger. And he's standing next to Gary Melanson, who's sitting in a chair, and he just looks at me and goes, "Your head's on fire!" To the guy that's claustrophobic.
Like, come on, man.
no.
There are better ways to handle this situation.
You could have got a bottle of water and snuck up behind him and put out the fire. So Gary freaks out, right? And starts trying to pull the mask off his head. And the grips and the puppeteers, the effects guys are like, because you got to unvelcro it, then unlace it, and then there's a zipper.
Oh my God.
It's to take off this $47,000 hood. So they're trying to do that and hold this 6'10" man down on the ground who's screaming like an 8-year-old. And while this is happening, I'm hearing off to the left, "Look out! Look out! Hey!" I'm like, what the hell is going on? We were shooting film back then. And when you're shooting film, you got the magazine, you got to load film into the magazine. There's a film loader. There's a 10-ton truck with the tailgate down. And the guy with his headphones on has got his using the lift gate to with the bag that's got the film in it to change out the magazine with the film. And there's a motorhome that we had, which one of our picture vehicles had popped into neutral and is rolling down this dirt road, going towards him. And it's common sense. If it hits him, it's gonna cut this guy in half. And one of the PAs on the set who had a walkie-talkie, one of those long cords that fell off, and he's sprinting. Must have been like a gold medalist in the Olympics or something for sprinting because he was so fast, yelling to this guy, "Look out, look out," and gets to this vehicle while I'm hearing screaming here for the pulling the mask off the Gary Melanson, the Bigfoot mask. And this guy, "Look out, look out." And the motorhome's going to cut this guy in half. And this guy dives into the driver's side window, feet sticking out the window, and got down and hit the brakes. And I'm not going to be overly dramatic, but it was probably maybe 25, 30 feet before it would have hit the guy and cut him in half. That's happening. And then we finally get the hood off of Gary Melanson, who started crying because he was so stressed.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "You're stressed."
You're stressed? This guy just died.
This guy almost died.
Yeah.
So we're like, I'm stressed.
Yeah, I'm stressed.
I'm stressed too.
Give me that.
Shut up, Gary.
that hood. Put it on.
So yeah, we had some weird shit that happened on that movie.
Yeah, that's crazy, bro.
I know you have.
You're standing
so
in the middle. I
many.
can just see you just standing in the middle like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Who do I help right now?
Right,
Oh,
you should
yeah.
be more concerned about this or about that.
You guys are going to fucking die. God damn it.
That will not look good on the production report.
That's wild. Yeah.
You've lived like a crazy life, huh?
Been some moments.
Yeah.
What brought you here? What made you decide to come to Texas?
The weather.
Well,
Is it the weather? Is it the 120-degree days?
yeah. I've done a lot of projects here in Texas. I did the original Walker Texas Ranger with Chuck Norris. Got a funny story about that. Did the new make of Walker Texas Ranger. Did a movie here with Sam Elliott called Gone to Texas. We shot some of the Transformers movies. We'd come to Tyler, Texas.
Tyler,
Texas.
probably, yeah.
And anyway, I always loved Texas. When I rodeoed, I used to come here, go to Houston, and go to Houston Astrodome. But my daughters, I have twins, identical twins that are into rodeo. They do pole bending and breakaway roping, and one of their best friends, Betty Branquino, Brandy, her grandma was teaching my daughters to breakaway rope and stuff, and Luke Branquino, I don't know if you know Luke, he's a 5-time world champion steer wrestler. He moved here. So the whole Branquino family,
They're here.
all moved here. And so Betty's like, yeah, we're moving to Texas. And I knew I wanted to get out of crazy California. I knew that. Over it. Just the lunatics. And I'm even embarrassed to even say that I'm in the entertainment industry, to tell you the truth. It's just, but the stunt community is not, we're not even accepted by our own industry. Get off on that in a little. It's like the Oscars. There's no category for. That's why Red Bull had to make its own category for stunt performers because we're not part of that. And I'm glad that we're not. Those pedophiles and freaking lunatics. It's just it's disgusting. But so my girl's like, we want to move. I'm like, we got to get out of California. Got it. We have to. I was thinking maybe Tennessee, maybe Montana. Maybe Texas. I'm like, oh, Dad, you'd consider Texas? I'm like, yeah. Would you consider Stephenville, Texas? I go, I've never heard of Stephenville.
Like, what an Stephenville, Texas.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Stephenville. I go, why Stephen? Dad, it's the cowboy capital of the world.
So how do they know? How did they
because of Luke Branquino and Betty.
Oh, they were already here.
They were moved. They're out by Heiko. But then Tony Branquino, he's here in Stephenville.
Right.
And so I'm like, yeah, I'll go check it out. And so I flew out here by myself and met a realtor and went around and looked around. I said, damn it, this place is so down to earth. And I'll never forget, I went to the Allsup and I was walking toward the door and this young man opened the door. Here you go, sir. And he opened up the door for me. Now, in L.A., you got to, be ready because that guy's going to try to jack you. He's
as soon as you walk in, he's going to grab your wallet or something.
Yeah, he's going to stab you in the back with a knife. So
Corey's walking in like...
Yeah, I'm like, back off, dude. I couldn't believe it. And everyone, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, no, sir, no, ma'am. Just the politeness. I'm like, this cannot be a bad thing for my children. Yeah. So fell in love with it. And I just, and a whole nother story we could get into in another time, but I went through a 7-year divorce. It took 7 years for the divorce to be finalized, and then COVID hit, and my ex and I got together to talk about the kids and whatnot, and we ended up getting back together.
So we're quarantined together?
Yeah.
So could you imagine fighting for 7 years and then, the world's ending. We're gonna die.
Fucking, I love you.
Back together?
I fucking love you, man.
Let's get back together. So we got back together, and it was kind of like we wanted not to be in that same fishbowl, we call it, in the San Ynez Valley where we're from. It's a beautiful place where Michael Jackson lived, and Bernie Taupin, who wrote all of Elton John songs, and a lot of famous people up there, and nice people, and then it started turning very ugly and very political. And anyway, we're like, oh, Corey and Sally are back together. What happened with that? And we didn't even have to deal with it. It's nice to go someplace where nobody knows you, and it's kind of like a clean slate, So, long story short, we came here and fell in love with it.
And then he ordered 2 units from Texan Restrooms, and this long-haired guy came up to drop them off, and I made him laugh with one joke, and I was like, gotcha.
He did. Got him. I liked you instantly.
I was all like, so what's with all these vehicles out here, man? Are you... Like, what? And he's like, oh, I'm a professional stuntman, and I teach courses and stuff. And I was like, oh, I thought you were just getting ready for the election next month.
You would think that with all the military vehicles out there.
Because I was driving down that road all the time, and then all of a sudden there's just, bam, like 20 Humvees, and then all these vehicles.
There's 65 picture vehicles.
Golly.
65.
And then you had that one thing, which I saw it on your Instagram, where it has the cable wrapped around the car, and it flips it.
Yeah.
That's cool. I want to get in that.
Yeah.
Can I get in that somehow?
Yeah, the brain shaker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to get in that.
Yeah, it's a trip.
Yeah. I want to get in it.
We'll put you in there.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll put you in
such
thing.
I'll gladly film.
Film the whole adventure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's funny to watch my neighbors drive by because, they now know we're from California, and people from California are crazy and weird, and they are. And so they drive by, and I see them slow way down, and all,
Margaret, what the hell is he doing out there?
What are those cars? Are those Suburbans from Linus?
Yeah.
That's the car from Bad Boys 1.
Must be one of them weirdos living over there.
I was like, it's probably another YouTuber. There's like a famous YouTuber who just lives right down the road down here, and he had a unit that I was servicing and stuff, and I found out, and I was like, oh, that's crazy. But he's like one of those drama people that's like on today's news, Kim Kardashian fell and broke one of her fake butts or something. I
Yeah.
don't know. You know,
Be humanly impossible to care. You know, where I grew up in Calabasas is where the Kardashians had their first little store, and my first wife and I used to go in there, and they were bitches.
Yeah.
They were so freaking rude. I mean,
he's like, hold on, let me take a drink.
yeah, I just,
He's like, you got whiskey?
I'm a whiskey drinker.
Are you?
I got a whiskey cabinet in there.
Yeah.
Not right here. Not right here.
We have
After all this, I can show you because there's a room in there that's a bedroom, but it's also like my editing room, and I have 2 chairs, and that's where me and him do the podcast. It's just usually when there's a guest, I'll come in here because it's more open, more table, you know.
Yeah,
and
this is
stuff.
chill right here. This is great, man.
Speaking of this house, like I said, it's from 1900. I mean, it's got the light switches where you push the button and it pops out on the bottom. You push the button,
awesome.
pops out. Well, I got a buddy who does content creation, and he's real good with filming. And I told him, I was like, we should make a horror movie out of this, because the attic is actually, my landlord said it's tall enough to where you can go in it and like stand and stuff and move around and stuff. When we go outside and look right above here on top of the house, there's like a window to like where if you're in the attic you can look out and see and everything. Which I wanted to put a skeleton up there with a lot that like when people drove by it turned on. But I thought it'd be cool to make a movie out of this where it's like he comes over and it's like, oh, we're going to make a video. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, let's go in the attic. And then what's this box? And then open it up. And then like, he's like, man, like a week later, he's like, man, I haven't heard from my friend. I'm going to go check him out. And like he shows up and it's like the house is all just kind of gloomy looking. He walks in and it's like I'm just standing there just like, you know, kind of like that. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out. Right now I'm just spitballing. I'm just throwing it out so that way I can watch this back and be like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Write a script.
Yeah.
Write a script. I got to tell you something. I think the whole, and I kind of know the industry, you know, for 4 decades. Yeah. I've seen the transformation of everything, like back in the 80s when the 1 hour action format was the number one format. Then it went to sitcoms and then reality shows. Those will never last. And I think that what you guys are, you know, making your own content is where everything is changing to. Yeah. It's why. I mean, right now back in Hollywood, CBS Radford Studios is a ghost town. Hardly any stages at all are being used. They're talking about bulldozing Warner Brothers and putting high-rise apartment buildings.
Oh, wow.
Hollywood ain't Hollywood anymore.
Mm-mm.
Right.
You know, and there's more production going on in Georgia.
Yeah.
Now in Texas, in New Mexico. I'm going back down to New Mexico. I leave on the 14th to go do a show down there called The Cleaning Lady. Have you ever heard of that? I haven't me either. Half the shows I work on, I don't even
The
never
cleaning lady's
seen.
my tia, my aunt.
My aunt cleans.
Gonna do a cannon roll for them down there. Yeah, and the last one I did down there was You Better Call Saul.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's a good show.
That's a good show.
That's a good show. And the director was that. Oh gosh, what's his name? He's the guy the showrunner. Nice man. You're gonna look it up, huh?
Yep.
Better Call Saul. And
Vince Gilligan.
Vince Gilligan.
Oh yeah,
What a nice man.
really.
Now,
He's the same dude
done
that
a lot of
directed Breaking Bad, wasn't it?
yes, created that as well.
Yeah.
Every other director had 7 days to shoot their episode. He went 9 days over. 9 days over, and they never said a word to him because he's Vince Gilligan.
Yeah, they're like, whatever.
That'd be like someone like telling Taylor Sheridan, "No, you're taking too long."
Yeah.
I'll take as long as I want. Yeah, Vince Gilligan.
George Vincent Gilligan Jr.
Well, yeah. Lots in Georgia, lots here. I know they passed a law for Texas filmmakers to. I didn't look into it, but I know they have. They're trying to get grants and stuff like that so they can go on
Rebate, the tax rebates.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what does it, because the producers are like, okay, we could make this show, and it's going to cost us X amount of dollars to shoot it in Los Angeles or in California, or we could go to Atlanta where they'll give us 30 cents back on the dollar. I thought it was funny that here I live in Texas, and I had to fly to frickin' Los Angeles and Long Beach to work on Lone Star 911, a show about Texas.
You worked on that show?
Yeah, a couple times.
God, I love that show. My wife, she started watching the 911, and then she started watching Lone Star, and then I was like, oh, look, this is 911 regular one, and Dude, I'm such a fan for that show. We just actually watched them last night.
I've never seen it.
Never?
No.
It's pretty. I mean, it's definitely one of those. Is a lot of the times you're kind of like, that's kind of cheesy, but at the same time you're just like, I don't know. And it's just a show that me and my wife watch. You know, a lot of the shows nowadays that I watch, and I'm like, that just doesn't get my attention.
Have you seen? I'm sorry.
No, what's his name on
Rob Lowe.
Rob Lowe.
Rob Lowe.
Yeah.
Fucking love Rob Lowe.
He's a cool cat.
Jab Lowe.
Did you guys see? Have you seen Tulsa King?
Yeah. Love it. Great. I haven't seen the second season. Watched all.
Yeah, Stallone, man, freaking.
Yeah, I just love Stallone. A donkey.
Welcome to Texas.
Love it.
There's a donkey in the yard. Okay.
Well, guys, this
gonna wrap
is
it up.
probably where we're gonna end it. Says apparently there's this ass in the yard. So,
There's an ass in the yard.
Corey, I really appreciate you coming on, man. I hope you can come back on, tell more stories. 'Cause
Absolutely.
I'd love to just sit
we love
here.
I tell you what, this has been a real pleasure. Both of you guys are awesome, and I this is a real pleasure. So anytime.
Well, I mean,
Hell yeah.
I do need somebody to help me write a movie, so
It's
I
called.
know who to call. Ron Howard. Several.
Oh, we got to go check this out.
Thank you for watching H&D Comedy Podcast.
Work it, boy.
Get funky, get freaky.
Be sure to like and subscribe. It really helps us so we can bring you more content.
Oh, baby.